Hi guys. I am, oh, my thing just turned off. How are you doing? I am on here of Happy Fabulous Friday. I wanted to get on here and do a video of, this new paper, Rustic paper. Darn, I thought I had gotten it over farther enough. Okay, we'll do it a little bit that way again. There we go. Here's my host code for July. There we go. I think that'll help. There we go. My host code for July is EDD4X9YG. Oh, no, it's crooked. There we go. And that's my host code just for July. So I wanted to get on here and show you this new paper called Rustic Harvest. And that's the whole card that we're doing today is based solely on this paper. We're going to use this sheet specifically. So this is the front side. And the back side has, it actually looks almost like, I feel like 80s paper, like wallpaper. I don't know, those little, it looks almost like a flower, like just the imprint of a flower a little bit. I actually love this sheet. I only saw it just a minute ago when I pulled this out. I love the swirls on this. I like that it's very randomized. And then of course the plaid. Love a good plaid. Okay. And then this is Cajun Craze, little dotted stripes and some fall, black and white fall leaves. These gourds, I love the pumpkins, but the gourds, I don't know. I'm not in love with this paper, this sheet, but I can see the yellow being something cute. This is a fun side here, just like little fern pieces. I love this paper. This looks like this might not be Daffodil Delight. This might be Cajun, or not Cajun, Crushed Curry. Oh, and this is a good design. I love fall. I love Halloween. It's my favorite season. And the pumpkins. So pumpkins are my favorite, not only because I love Cinderella, but I love everything about a pumpkin. I love the smell. I love the taste. I love everything about a pumpkin. And I don't know, I just can't get enough of pumpkins. So fall is always my favorite season. So this is a great paper. It's a 12 by 12 paper. And what I want, whoops, got a little wild there. What I wanted to show you was that on the back of the paper, it tells you the colors used in the paper. So in this paper, it has basic black, Cajun Craze, crushed curry, early espresso, Mary Merlot, and mossy meadow. It tells you the main core colors that they used, but you can see, like this is mossy meadow, but this I don't think is mossy meadow. I think this is actually almost old olive. There are parts of it that look almost like an old olive. That's one of my favorite colors. So that is a crushed curry for that yellow that I was talking about earlier. So you can also get the cousins of colors to help you design different things. So if you're unsure, that's the best part about Stampin' Up, is they tell you exactly what colors cardstock you need. So if you bought this paper and you're unsure if you have any cardstock that matches it, well, when you look at the description, it'll tell you on the description on the website. It'll also tell you on the back of this paper later, you know, what it is. So I wanted to show you, so I wanted to use this piece here because I wanted to show you the technique of cutting a large piece like this. Many times people have a hard time using pieces like this for cards because it's just so big, and you know, how do you cut it? When it's a continuous pattern like the pumpkins, you know, you can cut a million different pieces, but look at these are mirror images of each other. So how do you use this, you know? So the color that they used is Mary Merlot. Now that's this color here. Now, I'm not really in love with Mary Merlot. I don't know. I just don't love it as much as I like Blackberry Bliss, which would also work, or Rich Razzleberry. So I'm actually going to use Rich Razzleberry. This is not the first time I've used this paper to match with the Mary Merlot color. There's something about the, I mean, this has more brown in it. Mary Merlot has a lot more brown in it. It's definitely a wine. And this is a little bit brighter, has a little bit more red in it. So that's why this one's a little brighter. So I don't know. I just think that the rich raspberry picks up the Mary Merlot, but it's not an exact match. So that's another thing you can try, is just lay out your different colors that are similar and see which one you like. I had a piece of Mary Merlot, but I didn't really want to match. I didn't really like this. It's not my favorite color. So between the two, I opted for rich raspberry. I'll show you both options. So I wanted to show you how I cut this paper. So when I line it up on my cutter, let's see, if I cut it exactly at 6 inches, it's going to cut the mirror image in half. Okay, so it's cutting our mirror image in half. And then I'm going to want a piece of this, so I can set this piece aside. And then I'm going to want a piece of this to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. So I'm going to have to trim off a little bit from the bottom here, and maybe a little bit off of the top as well. So depending on where you cut, actually I'm going to try cutting this side. Let's see. So this is going to be 4 inches. And I'll show you the options here, because that way you can see why knowing how is a little bit better. So that gives me 6, that's going to give me 6 card fronts out of this one sheet of 12 by 12. So this one was a little high on the side. So if I want to do 5 1/4, look, I'm going to cut my butterfly right in half. And so I don't really want it at 5 1/4 because I don't really want to cut off my butterfly completely. So I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to try cutting. I'm going to move to the, let's see, I think that's a 6. Okay, so this is 5 1/2, 5 1/4. So that's an 1/8. So I'll go to like, so that's 1, 2, 3/8. And let me trim off a little bit of the green from the bottom. And then, so that trims off that little bit there. Let me see if I can trim off the rest from the top. Yeah, and then I still get to save that little butterfly. And I'll show you with the other piece here in a little bit where I'll cut it a little different for that piece too. You see, so I have a little less of the greenery at the bottom, but it's not the worst, right? Now this one, I can cut quite a bit off because of the fact that but the butterfly is still popping up above the top. So all I do is I just put it in my cutter, you see, and I can see like where is it gonna cut it's going to cut my butterfly off. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm actually going to cut it at 5 1/2 to trim that off. And then I'm going to come over on this side and trim a little more green off and turn it at this so that's 5 1/4 now. So now it's 5 1/4 inches long. So that's the exact amount I needed for my, that's the exact amount I need for my card front. And then the same thing with this other one, the same kind of thing. If I do it this way, my butterfly is still in the way. So I think that 5 3/4 mark tends to be a good mark. Or not 3/4. What is it? 3/8. And then I just turn it. It's extra cutting, but that way I can save that little butterfly, just to save that little touch, you know. And so that's 3 card fronts from half a sheet. And so now, and I'll do the same thing. It's a little tedious to try and get all your card fronts that way, but it at least saves me from cutting off that little cute little butterfly. And I just noticed that these are like little pine cones. So, but I almost thought that they were actually mums. And so just a fun, I don't know, I just think that this paper was really fun. I was really drawn to it. So I wanted to keep with the black, so I'm going to use a black card base. And then I had a couple options. Oh, I gotta cut even more. My bad. I gotta cut even more. I just realized. I was not thinking. Technically, I could put this just straight down on a card front. But I usually like to have one more layer. So that was my bad. I have to trim off a little bit more. That was my bad. It was not supposed to be 5 1/4. It was supposed to be 5 inches. So I have to trim off a little bit more from this one and all of these to get it to fit. So I can put this straight on a card front, done. But if I want to have a second layer, which is what I always like, I need to trim a tiny bit more off. So this needs to be, my bad. So I cut it wrong both times. Okay. I don't want to cut too much. That's what I get for cutting it live and not cutting it ahead of time for y'all. But I wanted to show you, but see, that also shows too, because like, you know, sometimes, there we go. All right. And so this is going to be 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So I'm trimming off this tiny bit from the top here too. Okay, so that was my bad. I did this for another class previously, and then I had forgotten that I had to trim so much extra. So now I get that other layer. So I can have those as straight card fronts, like I showed you a second ago, or I can trim it a little bit more and have, but see, I'm not a big fan of just the flat paper against the card. I feel like it adds just quite a bit of dimension when you add that other layer. So I had two options. I could do the rich razzleberry, or I could do it with the blackberry bliss. The blackberry bliss looks good too, but I think I'm going to stick with the rich razzleberry like I talked about earlier. Okay, so we've got our basic design. It's not a complicated card. Okay, and I'm just going to glue this on the front. So this is 3 3/4 because I made the mistake earlier by 5 inches. My bad. And I'm going to glue this onto my rich razzleberry paper. And remember, when you're cutting layers, you always just go down by 1/4 inch. So this is 1/4 inch smaller than this one. It's 1/4 inch smaller in the height and the width. Okay, so this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So that makes this 4 inches by 5 1/4. Then I make this then 3 3/4 by 5 inches. I just keep going down by layers. And so I've told you guys this before in other videos, but if it's your first time watching me, you'll know. There we go. Whoop, ooh, got a little extra. You have to be careful when you get too much of the white glue on the paper sometimes, because it'll make it look damp. I was really drawn to this particular sheet. I don't know. I just really liked it. Ooh. Stop moving on me, paper. There we go. Hopefully I've got it straight. Yeah. All right. So we've got that layer down. And I'm really going to keep this simple. I don't want to add too much else. I might add a jewel or something. So I'm going to glue this down again for our layer. And this will be the inside layer. So real quick card. Look, we're only at 4 minutes. And then the sentiment I'm going to show you is not from a stamp set in the new catalog. This is called Rustic Harvest paper, by the way. Rustic Harvest designer series paper. And so it's so pretty. I had trouble using these half sheet, these 12 by 12s with the two designs, the mirror designs, when I first got them. I just really wasn't sure, like, how do you do this? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the scrap that I had trimmed off from the other, and I could take this one. I could take this one and put it, or I could even take, you see, put the green. I actually think the green might be best. And just glue that little bit of green on the side, on the inside, just for a little something, you know, just a little addition to the inside of the card. I usually like to stamp something. So the stamp set we're using is actually the Waves of Inspiration stamp set. And I just like to the dies and I always like to add just a little something on the inside. And then this will pop really nicely against the black. You see, so even though it's the greenery from the front, it'll still pop quite a bit against that black. I love a black card. I don't think we use black enough as on cards. I feel like sometimes we shy away from it because we think, oh, it's just a dark, but black can be a really good color. I think yeah, these are the fabric. Let me grab my other. Okay, I'll just grab these. There's a little overhanging piece here. I'm just trimming that off. There we go. I think black for a card is sometimes really makes things pop. I even used black against a rainbow one time, which looked really cute. That was a really cute card. I really like that. Okay, done with that. And so there's our front, our basic card. The only thing that I wanted to add was the sentiment. So there's a die in the way, this is the, oh, I forgot the name of this die set. It's in here. This die set is called Wave Dies, okay? And it's this die right here. It's with the Waves of Inspiration stamp set, and I wanted to use this one here. So whenever I have extra pieces from a card, many times, but see the dies that go with the Waves of Inspiration stamp set are just insanely intricate and beautiful. They make really amazing waves. That alone just makes me in love with this stamp set. So I wanted to use this Your Strength is an Inspiration stamp because I felt like that was just a fitting stamp. Oh, that's a big block. I'm gonna grab a different one. I grabbed this giant one. Okay, we'll slide that in. And this is the die I used. And Your Strength is an Inspiration will just fit. And so I think I'm going to use, do I want to use no, I think I'll use a little green. I guess I could pop with that yellow. I don't have crushed curry, but I do have Daffodil Delight. Let's try it on a scrap and see if that's what I want. I only have one of those cuts, so. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. I just didn't want it. And the dies for this set are so cute. Look, they have this cute stitching around the edges. I love the stitching. So, okay, Your Strength is an Inspiration. Done. Oh, that looks cute. That yellow really pops. And let's see. Do I want it up here? No, I think I want it down here. I don't think do I want it centered? No, I think I want it off to the side. Then it's off center with the butterfly. So let me grab some dimensionals. Well, this was a super quick card. We're only at 18 minutes, you guys. Like, this was, and I made it from scratch, other than cutting the black cardstock. It's a quick card. I love the designer series paper from Stampin' Up! Because sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes you don't even need a stamp. Sometimes the paper is enough and you're good. And so let me put that down. And that is that. Oops, sorry, I keep hitting the camera. Since I've got my new setup here, it's a little different. There we go. All right. And let me see about a jewel or something to I feel like I need a little something else to pop. I've got all the current jewels here. No, these are the current in jewels. I mean, I can always use a rhinestone. The iridescent, that one might be a good one, the iridescent jewels. No. No, I don't think. Do I want a pearl maybe? The pearl might work because of all the white. Oh, and then there's also these solid faceted gems. Let's see. What color is that? Oh, that's green. That's actually a green. I think I'm gonna use that. This is green. I didn't think it was green. It's actually green when you shine it up under the light. I thought it was black. They're new. This is blushing. This is Melon Mambo, the Pool Party Melon Mambo. This is Balmy Blue, Night of Navy, Blushing Bride. And this, when I hold it up to the light, let me get the light down. It's Mossy Meadow. Oops, sorry, my hand's right in front of the camera. You see that it's green? It's like, might be kind of hard to see, but it's actually green. I have black as well, but yeah, I think we'll do that. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I can add just a few of these green ones and that'll be good. I mean, the iridescent gems are always a good go-to. I thought the pearls might also be good because of the white accents, but it's not very often that I have a card where the green matches. I guess I felt like, no, I'll use the green. I'll add a couple of these green solid faceted gems. Add one here. And I always add them in 3. I'll add one there. And I'll add one more here. Yeah, there we go. So that's our card. Done. I didn't realize those were, so, I mean, it could be Evening Evergreen, but I don't think so. I think it's Mossy Meadow. It could be Evening Evergreen, but I don't think so. I don't think it's an in color because these are all regular colors, the standard colors that we offer all year round. So it was kind of an unusual gem package because many times our jewels are pretty plain or they focus on the in colors, but these ones happen to focus on our standard colors. And so there we go. So it's got a nice little shine to it with those gems, just a little something. I guess I could have added one to the butterfly, would have been good too. So there you go. So there's our card. That's it. Nothing crazy, very basic today. So, and hopefully I can, hi Cheryl. Yeah, you can see that it's green. It's hard for me to tell sometimes in the videos. I'm glad you can see it because sometimes it's hard for me to tell. I'm like, is it green? I think it's green. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's Mossy Meadow. I'll have to look it up in the catalog to see exactly what color it is. I have a feeling it's Mossy Meadow because it's so dark. So dark. And Old Olive is a much brighter green. And so I used the dye that I used here was from the Wave Dyes. I love that particular sentiment dye. And sometimes people will string ribbon through the little openings. And then I use this stamp is from the Waves of Inspiration stamp set. Okay, and this is the Rustic Harvest paper. Yeah, So that was a good, quick card. And I like that you can make 6 and have some extra little trim from one sheet of the rustic paper. One sheet of this rustic paper will make 6 cards, 6 card fronts. And there, look, I didn't have to do hardly any because the paper is just rich enough. Sometimes, you know, we tend to gild the lily, as my grandmother would say. She always used to say, let's not gild the lily, you know, because I want to add more to something. And sometimes, you know, just keeping it simple, just some basic paper and a stamp, you know, keep it simple. And it just, what a fun card. I mean, technically it's fall because I guess the pine cone and the colors sort of make it fall, but I hadn't even noticed this pine cone until I was cutting the paper. I don't even know if anyone else would notice. I've looked at it for quite some time. So yeah, so be sure to go to StampiNUp.com and use this host code if you want to pick anything up. And I will see, it's Mossy Meadow. Thanks, Cheryl, for looking that up. I was like, I don't have my catalog handy. And so thanks, Cheryl, I appreciate it. But yeah, feel free to check out any of my other videos on YouTube. I've been trying to update with my videos, and as soon as I get my Pinterest live, I'm going to add that too. And then you guys can follow my Pinterest images too. I've just been, my knee is good. I'm good to go. I can walk around. I can only sit for so long, which is partly why I was like, let me do a really simple card. And it's Friday and it's so hot. So I just thought, let's just do that card you were thinking of that was basic. And I love teaching people how to cut paper because I learned how to cut paper because of just trial and error. No one actually showed me how. So I would waste a lot of paper because no one showed me how to cut it. And it just was the nature of how things went. And I just feel like that's an important skill to teach people that watch me, how to cut basic paper to get the right layers. Because if you don't know the math, or if no one's ever shown you how to do it, then how are you going to know how to? So thanks so much. Oh, and this was Rich Razzleberry cardstock that I paired. Even though this is Mary Merlot, it's a good cousin. And so, all right. Well, have a great day. Thanks so much. Have a good weekend. Happy Friday. Thanks so much, Cheryl, for watching. Be sure to comment and share, and then I put people in for a drawing for any of the cards that are in my videos. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks so much for tuning in.